Welcome to my second video on the Project Innovation Mars colonization version and planning help. So the first thing I want to do is go through why Minecraft? Well, this inspiration came from Mark A. Miller, who is our instructional coach or curriculum support teacher. And I asked him, I want to build a model. I want them to build a model. This grade 9 applied students to build models. And so he was the one who introduced me to Minecraft. So for those of you who don't know, what is Minecraft? Well, here's the trailer.
Let's go to a place where everything is made of blocks, where the only limit is your imagination. Let's go wherever you want to go. Climb the tallest mountains. Venture down to the darkest caves. Build anything you want. Day or night, rain or shine. 'Cause this is the most significant sandbox you'll ever set foot in. Build a majestic castle. Invent a new machine, or take a ride on a roller coaster. Play with friends. Build your own little community. Protect yourself with the strongest armor that you can craft. And fight off the dangers of the night. No one can tell you what you can or cannot do, with no rules to follow. This adventure, it's up to you.
So that gives you an understanding of what it can do. Video explanation for you, the viewer, not for the students. So it's taking the same video clip, but I added a new audio to it, so that explains to you exactly what you would do. Now, I am just starting with Minecraft, and so over the summer I'm going to be doing a little bit of Minecrafting and trying to figure out how to make it easier for the students. So I'll talk about that in a separate video. So why Minecraft? Particularly also, what version did I use? Well, I actually used the iOS edition. Mainly because of this. So they have an education edition, and the education edition has some awesome features. For those of you who also teach computer science and you do coding, if you can afford it in your district or your school, try doing the education edition. Unfortunately, right now, the coding component is only available on the education edition. I guess they assume that teachers are not going to be running around with iPads and coding. Little do they know. So the other option, of course, is the one I used, which is the Android edition or the iOS edition. Now, my students had this themselves. I did a survey with them, and I asked them if they would have access to it, and only 3 or 4 students said they don't. And I also asked them would they be willing to buy it if it was inexpensive, and most of them said they were perfectly fine. So for what my wish list was that I would have 6 copies, because in the science department we have 6 iPads that we have access to. So I would hope to have had it on 6. It just didn't work out that way with the planning purposes and the time of the year. I kind of was asking for this at the end of the budgeting cycle. But the way the volume pricing works for iOS, and that is Apple's operating system for their portable devices, if you're not unsure what that is. So the $10 Canadian here is what it would cost for upwards of 9 licenses. Once you hit 10, then it gets to be half price. So when you do the math there, you spend $60, in my case, for my department, and what ends up happening is that you end up getting something you can have every single year on those devices, whereas this is a subscription. The other thing that I didn't put on here is that for the education edition, you need an Office 365 account, which means you need to be in a district that is paying for Office 365. Now, Peel was doing that this year, but as of 2018 to moving forward, as in September 2018, we are no longer providing that for students. So what does that mean? Well, that means that really that gets rid of even this as an option until Microsoft changes their procedure. Otherwise, the kids are using their own accounts, particularly their own Xbox Live accounts, and that could get a little bit dicey. So the iOS Android device does have them log in if they're using their own personal one, but because it's their own personal one, that's their choice. However, if we start getting into using the Peel District School Board ones, well then the accounts can be created separately from there. And we'd have to work that out probably with a Outlook.com website. The platforms, this is the limiting factor, and this is the other number one reason why I chose to use the iOS edition, and that is because of the fact that Education Edition currently is not available on Chromebooks, and it's currently not available on iOS. Well, those are the majority of our devices in my school. We are eliminating the Windows labs, and the Mac lab has not been updated forever. So we don't have devices, or labs I should say, that the kids could use. The way the Education Edition is structured is if you are in a dedicated computer lab. Now the benefits, as I said, of the Education Edition is that for those of you who have to do coding as well, it's huge. There's a coding section of the education platform that allows you to do modifications right in the game and really have a discussion about what modern coding is like. The chemistry add-on, it's really cool. I suggest you look into that. That's available, by the way, in both versions. Okay, and it's something I'm definitely going to be trying to implement in my practice when I redo this course again. And then the only negative side effect of the iOS version is that I have no access to what the kids are doing online. Whereas in the Education Edition, you have full control. You can kick a kid out. You can set up groups. So when it comes to a classroom management, especially for younger students, then the Education Edition is far superior. But once again, its limiting factor is the fact that it's not available on the devices we have here in the Peel District School Board, generally in our school at Sandalwood Heights. Okay. So I want to talk about some of the challenges. The biggest challenge with Minecraft is really where it puts the maps. You can't ask the kids to submit the maps that they create for you. It's just not going to work. They have to plug their device into a computer, particularly a Windows or a Mac computer, and then download a program usually called Explorer, and it's not Internet Explorer, it's something else, in order for them to access their maps that they can send to you. And then it may or may not work. The best thing to do is to have them do a screen record on their device, and most modern devices have that built into the OS, so that makes it easy, and they can turn the microphone on, and then all they do is they talk. But I try to get them to have a storyboard, or at the very least have a script, so that they can actually make sure that they are telling me at the same time of the recording what exactly they want to record and what they're going to say, because this has been the challenge. The students they gave me real estate walkthroughs. This is my room. I'll give you some examples as well, some of the links I'm going to upload for you for my students. But basically, they don't tell me the science, and they are just saying, this is my room, this is the way I built it, so it was a bit disappointing in that regard. There are a few examples of students who did a really good job as to explain it, because they were really good at having a plan. And so this is helping with the 21st century working and learning strategies of helping these students realize they have to have a plan. So the other challenge, though, was unexpected. So when, as I said earlier, the students said that oh, I have the app. Well, it turned out that a lot of them were using a semi-bootleg version of it. So what I'm talking about here is this. This is called a Choo app. Essentially what this is a side loader app store. Of course, jailbreak means that you are no longer being restricted by Apple or by the owner of the operating system, in other words, or the controller of the operating system, you're able to tweak the operating system to your leisure. So this is jailbreak free, yay. But the one I'm showing you right now is the paid version. The free version, unfortunately, well, I think Apple thinks it's pirated software, or people are complaining that it's pirated software, and it probably is promoting pirated software, because once you get this app, even if you pay for it, then you don't have to pay for any other app that you're downloading. Minecraft is one of the ones you can download. Many other games are included in this, which is one of the reasons why the kids had access to it. But they didn't tell me. So from me to you, I would say if you can avoid this, avoid it. Because what happened was for my exam, well, it worked all the way up to the day the exam was supposed to be submitted. And then someone worldwide said that, oh, by the way, this is pirated, sent a report to Apple, and Apple revoked their license. This happens periodically, apparently, and it happens random. Well, it happens whenever someone complains. So, needless to say, what happened was the kids had to give me a letter explaining what they built in Minecraft and how it related to the science. Well, the biggest problem with this is the disappointment. These kids were so excited about what they had built. They were asking me for how to make it more challenging. They were asking me, for instance, can I make a rocket that flies? I'm like, cool. But unfortunately, it worked out that they were a victim of their own, I guess, genius in that regard, that they felt that this isn't illegal, but it's not also legal. They basically fell victim to what piracy really is. And so moving forward, I know that I am not going to be promoting, I never did promote this. I told them, if you're getting your app and you're getting it not on a legitimate source, that's your decision. That's something you have to take under advisement. I can't help them with that. So one of the things I'm going to do next year is I'm going to be using this experience as an exemplar and helping them to realize that perhaps the lazy method may not be the way, and hopefully by then I will have options of doing it here. Okay. Going back to challenges again. The other challenges, some of the students like to use their PlayStation and their Xbox. Now, the problem, of course, is I'm not having them bring it to school. But what the challenge, the PlayStation actually worked fairly well because the PS4 specifically allows you to record the last few minutes of the video. Then they uploaded that downloaded the video to a USB and put that on their computer, and they did iMovie, and they did it that way. But it has to all be done at home. The Xbox Live was supposed to allow them to upload the video to Xbox Live, watch it on their phone, and actually be able to, or download it onto their phone, and then be able to do the overview after that. Or they did the overview of the video, or overview of the game while they're talking in the video, while they're recording at home, and they just gave me the video. But Xbox Live wasn't working when we were trying to do it, so this was another technical glitch. So having it on their own personal devices was by far the best solution. The other aspect was I was able to see what they were doing in class, so I was able to give them feedback. The kids that try to do it at home, they were the ones that giving me the real estate walkthrough. So I hope that if you do decide to go this road, that these challenges help, or this explanation of challenges help. Now, full disclosure here, I also gave students an option for the exam to write a letter. I also, for the Net Zero project, I also gave them an option of making these projects with Lego and other real things. The whole idea was, Minecraft was not the whole exam or the whole projects. It was just one tool to have them model their project.